Hey guys, it's Brandon, aka Be Rich Beauty, aka your beauty best friend, along with Jeremy McShann. Happy Monday, y'all. Guys, we're talking all things reality TV today. So, you know what to do. Grab your beverage. Let go. Jeremy.
Brandon.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Yes, I have my Jam the Review shirt on here, guys, celebrating my company's 8 years. Sorry, I have this thing in my mouth. I should not have this in my mouth.
I feel like I should pull a Diana Ross and be like, spit that out. She did that to Brandy, right?
Right.
Spit that out.
But yeah, so super excited about today. So cool. Thank you.
Which Jam the Review, for those that may not know?
Exactly. Jam the Review is a music review show in DC. We review the pop songs from the 70s to current pop music. It's a song and dance show in the DC area. So follow us on Instagram, Jam the Review, REVUE.
I love my entrepreneur friends. Yes, I saw that earlier today and I said, I have to say happy anniversary to you. Cheers to you. Jeremy, what you sipping on over there?
You know, gotta have my strength. That's the only way I can make it through.
Cheers to your strength. Happy anniversary. I'm going to take a little sip of my sparkling rosé.
It looks really good, too.
It's so refreshing. It's so good. I needed something to be quench thirsting and hydrating because the Reali-TEA from Love and Marriage Huntsville, Potomac, and Salt Lake City was just that dramatic on Saturday and Sunday. So let's just jump right into it.
Let's do it. Let's talk to me about Love and Marriage Huntsville.
All right, so a couple of things. For those that not watch Love and Marriage Huntsville, what are you doing with your life? But I know that you have, so let's talk about it as a family, right? So we see them resume in Las Vegas. We left off in Las Vegas last week, the week prior, excuse me. And so with that being said, you know, Tisha and Kimmy were going at it in the pool. And so you see actually Tisha offering up Kimmy an apology, saying, you know, I apologize, let's move forward. But, you know, here's my thing about Tisha. Tisha will say, I'm sorry. And then literally 10, 15 minutes later or 3 episodes later, she will dig deep down her bag of petty, her pocket of petty, and pull out some old ish that was supposed to have been buried and then want to talk about it again. So we'll see how long that apology really lasts.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to last. And, you know, after this, we fast forward where they're going to go on a surprise trip and they separate into different vans. The men get in one van, the women get in another van. The men had a very interesting conversation. Maurice was just it was really interesting. Just did not understand how people could get divorced. He could never see himself getting divorced no matter what. And to me, I feel like, you know, Maurice don't ever have to worry about him being the person that's going to ask for a divorce because he expects his wife to meet his needs, whatever, you know, it's his way or the highway. And so he didn't have to do any adjusting. So he didn't have a reason to be stressed or worried because he's living his best life. And if you want to be with me, you're going to live my best life.
Well, here's the thing. Maurice basically said Marceau said out loud on national television for the whole world to hear and or the own network, if not the whole world, that he is only existing in a marriage because he'd rather be married and be in it than be divorced and have to be out there on his own trying to navigate life. He does not sound happy. He basically says that he's been on the journey of marriage. He's thought about divorce multiple times. They both have, but they worked through it. But what really kind of sealed like that mindset to me was the fact that he brought up, I guess, an aunt who said there was often times, and I was like, that's the worst damn example you could do.
It was.
The aunt that said we multiple times we thought about getting divorced, but it was the kids that we stayed in it for. And thank God we stayed in it because of the kids, because we were able to make a way through it. That's the reason why marriages are in the state that it is in now, because people stay for the churning.
I would have felt better about that story if she said thank God we made it through because I am so in love with my husband, and that was just a hard period of time, and those kids were what made me hold on. But she just
Right.
making it through just to make it through. What is the point there? Like, if it's
There
not
is no
serving
point.
you, if it's not doing that, then it's time for you to move on.
And I agree. Hey, innocent spectator. First of all, thank you. I got a compliment on my glasses, Jeremy McChan.
Oh yes, you
But
start wearing glasses after I wear glasses on this program.
child, low key, high key, and off key. I always wear corrective lenses. I just have them inside, and I was being lazy today, and I got me a new pair of
Okay.
Tom Ford frames.
They are
Honey.
cute. They are cute.
Thank you
These are
so
not
much.
Tom Ford. These are America Smart.
Hey, do whatever works within your budget.
Yes. Okay.
However,
Hello.
innocent spectator says, I don't think Marceau or Tisha is happy. And I completely agree. Because if you hear Tisha, and let's talk about Tisha, because Tisha goes
Right.
to Maurice and says, we're in Vegas. You know, he talks about what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And I was like, sis, you said the same thing. However, she's like, can you keep an eye on your brother to make sure like he behaves? First of all, if you have to ask your brother-in-law to keep an eye on his brother, there's something wrong. Second of all, you're in Vegas, and ma'am, you said multiple times with all these other these couples here, plus us witnessing it, that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So now all of a sudden, if you know, Insecure was a person, it looks like Tisha in this moment.
Well, I think the difference is for Tisha, it's one of those things, cliche things everybody says. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas when you go. But I think for Maurice, it's like literally what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Or
So
what I
think
want
that's
to have happen in Vegas.
right. I think that's the difference. And, you know, Maurice does kind of talk to her and was like, well, are you good? You know, I didn't think that surprise therapy was a good idea. But, you know, are you good? Are you happy? And she was just like, well, you know, and she looked like she wanted to cry in that moment. And she was like, you
She
know,
did.
he looks, you know, things are going to just move very slow. And, you know, he's given a little there and it's going to take a while. And I was like, I feel like that's how guys like Maurice keep people like
Marceau.
sucked in. I'm sorry. Thank you, Marcel. Keep people sucked in is that they, you know, they start off giving you 20 and then all of a sudden they're giving you 0. So then when you complain, they give you like 5 or 10,
5%.
which is more than 0, but you're never going to ever get back to that 20. But you're like, oh, they give you just enough for you to feel like you leaped back up there. And I'm like, this is crazy to me. Like,
You know what that mentality? Go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
no, that was it. I was wrapping it up.
You know what that mentality reminds me of? That old school saying of, you know, it's better to have a little piece of man than no man at all.
Yeah, no, that is not bad. What Tyler Perry said, I could do bad all by myself.
But that's the energy that Tisha gives as it relates to her relationship and her marriage to Marceau, especially for what we see, right? And for her to keep stressing, he's giving me a little something. We've gone on date night, date night. Like, okay, sis, but didn't you just say there are bigger issues that are happening in your marriage and you're okay with just a little piece of date night? So that goes back. A little piece of man is better than no man at all. That is what Tisha is giving me. That is the energy I'm getting from her.
I mean, it's for them, it's this like relationships for them are what gives them an elevated sense of status and stature because I'm in this relationship. So I am in this class and you're single. So you're in this class when I'm just like, no, but I'm single and I'm happy and you're in this relationship and you're sad. So, I mean, I think that's
and
what
Maurice
we need to
said. He said, my marriage was over a lot longer than it should have been. Like
yeah,
he
for
said
sure.
that. So you can see, to your point, yes, I can get like people put themselves on a pedestal because they have a partner or they're married versus their single friend. But at the end of the day, if you're existing in a marriage unhappy, or you're existing in a marriage where there's a man constantly cheating on you or mentally abusing you, because I got some words to say about this, is what is the point if you're unhappy in the marriage? Just to say you have a piece of man. So let's talk about a piece of man.
Let's talk about it.
Martell and Mal?
We can, and they had like a very phony moment when they first got there, and they were selecting their cars, and Martell could not get in the car because his clothes were too tight, and you know it was so funny. And he was just like, he hasn't had a chance to buy new clothes yet, but it also shines a light on his situation. Since he's been apart with Mel, he is strapped for cash. He can't even go down to TJ Maxx and get some new pants and a t-shirt.
Erica Jane.
Listen. At least Erica know, listen, if she can be a fashionista, she's gonna be a Maxinista. And so listen, she's still gonna be slaying the kids with the fashions.
And I know we're talking about Love and Marriage Huntsville, but can we just have a little sidebar real quick? Because, you know, it's our BD best friends. It's the community talking. Do you think those pictures of Erica Jane at TJ Maxx are staged or were they real?
Everything she does is staged. Why would the paparazzi just be at TMZ? The paparazzi goes to places where they know celebrities frequent, and they do not frequent TJ Maxx. So for the paparazzi to be able to do that, they have to be tipped off or alerted that you are going there. Other than that, it'd be a complete waste of your time. Think about that. As a person that is selling my video footage to blogs and stuff, it would be complete waste of my time to go to TJ Maxx. Who is there?
Okay. All right. So fast forward. I don't know if you may say Martell is strapped for cash. I think Martell is functioning on his own and he can't get the hang of it. You know, I feel like Mel did a lot more for their physical presentation outward than Martell is giving credit for. I hands down believe Melody dressed them to match and to build that brand together. And now that he's on his own, I don't know if it's I haven't got a chance to buy new clothes because I'm strapped on cash versus I haven't got a chance to buy new clothes because I don't have anybody buying my clothes for me. And I maybe not be able to hire a stylist to go pick me up some Hanes t-shirts from the TJ Maxx.
Yeah, I mean, he even mentioned too about like he couldn't do He mentioned that he couldn't even do a lot of the stuff with the kids anymore because he didn't have cash. I mean, where's he working? He didn't have a job outside of this. Himself. Doing what? Melody had the whole. No, Holt & Holt is gone. It's disbanded. There's no longer Holt & Holt. It's gone. They disbanded it.
But just because the Holt & Holt is disbanded, excuse me, does not necessarily mean that this man still can't build no houses. He doesn't have a home builder's license because Melody had that, so he can't legally build a house. So what is he doing? Offering up some consulting?
Oh, right. That's what I'm saying. This man don't have no job outside of these own checks. That's why he was trying to.
Not these own checks.
Listen.
Martell got an OnlyFans someplace. That's why he got extra buff.
Now listen, I may subscribe to that. Okay. Just may get my $9.99 out of me a month. Just
Martell look like he might try to charge the kids $19.99 for their OnlyFans child.
Listen, he may get me for about 3 months. He may get my $19.99 for 3 months. Then I'm gonna cancel the subscription. But they ride and they have a really good time. And then we have this Melody Martell breakdown. And I know you have your thoughts about it. I just want to replay the situation and we can talk about it.
Replay it for the kids.
So I think that this was really a lost in translation thing that ended up going drastically wrong. So they get out of where they're going to take the photos. And, Melody was just like, why did you text me SMH? And Martell was just like, oh, I was texting you SMH because, you can't drive. And I do honestly think he said that out loud too. Yes. So I think the SMH was him trying to be very playful and flirty that at this point they can't really do right now. So I think but it was taken the wrong way. And, so Melly is like, well, you need to just worry about who you're going to take couples photos with instead of worrying about me. And then, so that starts the whole thing. They go do that. So Melody calls him over there and it's like, hey, can we talk? She asked about the kids, which his answer was giving me very, very shaky because it didn't seem very truthful what he was saying.
Didn't seem quite confident at all.
Right. So then, they go into talking about the video shoot. And, he obviously that's a sore spot for him as well, too. And he calls the video BS. And then somewhere in the line, he tells her to shut up. She tells him to shut up. She walks away. He calls her Beyonce, which is, messing with her and stuff like that. But then she starts to be like, well, what's the problem? And she's like, what's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem? Continue to antagonize him. And then Maurice pulls Martell aside to be like, listen, this is the moment. You got to control your temper. You got to be just cool, calm, and collected. This is the moment where you do what you say you want to do. And then, Melody was like, well, he's always talking about. And then Martell comes back to Melody. It don't work because he's like, well, you always talk about our 4 kids. And she was like, but what about the 5th one? And then Mel starts to put on the music of the video and, starts playing it and blasting it. And then he was just like, well, you wrote this song before we was divorced. You had our kids singing it. And she was like, well, our kids don't know it. I mean, so it just went on and on and on. And no one could stop it. She says, I wouldn't be in a relationship when I got to dress him, screw him, and tolerate the cheating. How about that?
I mean, but we've heard that song before. How many relationships the spouse dresses you, screws you? And I mean, didn't Beyonce write a whole album about it? Let me upgrade you, Lemonade.
Beyonce wrote a lot about it. She know. Listen, she know. Listen, if Beyonce get cheated on, there ain't no hope for the rest of us.
You can say the same thing about Halle Berry as well,
listen,
right?
Beyonce, Halle, all of them.
So here's my thing. Here's my rebuttal to you. And I would love to know you guys' thoughts here, because I see a comment saying Martell is hurt. I think it's his ego and his heart is broken. Absolutely. They're both hurt. As long as they've been together, they're equally have hurt each other. And I know we got to wrap this up, but I want to really highlight this by saying this. You say one thing, I'm going to say this, because
I didn't even say I just recapped the story non-biased. So I didn't even say my opinion yet, but let's hear your opinion. All right.
Martell pushed Melody's button, and he pushed her button and activated her, and then wanted to hide with his hands behind the back to then play victim, to then seem like the calm one when he dropped his voice and now that he pushed her button, Melody rose to the occasion, and now it's just gaslighting each other here. And so what I think Martell has done, because Mel said something, he's only mad now because I have a career outside of him and I'm doing X, Y, and Z. And I don't need him for anything. Because Martell is quick to say, I've always provided for my family. Well, boo, seems like he only provided for your family because Mel was also in the corner over here because she had the license for you to be able to provide. Yeah. She had the accounting skills to run the administrative part of the business. So you were able to provide on the shoulders of Melody. And that's what happens when you go through a divorce. But that's also a great example of when they were good, they were great partners. You should be able to balance each other out. But what Martell did was he gaslit her. He pushed her buttons. She went off. And then now he wants to play the victim. You don't get a chance to do that.
But see, no, I think it was
mental abuse. That's mental abuse.
I don't. In this situation, I think they both at some point. Listen, at some point, someone has to pull back at some situation, right? Think what Martell started off as trying to be a playful moment was not perceived at that, and then when they
Martell knew exactly what he was doing.
I do know. I honestly think, because he even, was trying to be cordial and friendly. It's an awkward situation. So it's like, let's make the best. Because even when he's there, she even tried to side hug him. They want to play nice. And so, like, I do think his SMH was really like a flirtatious, like, what you doing? You can't drive. But in their situation, but at some point, like when Melody brought him over there, probably knowing how they were already tense, she probably should not have brought them over there. But even once their conversation heated up, she kept she was on the other side of the car, like, what's the problem? 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 No, you are no. She didn't. He didn't. No, you are responsible for your own actions. No one can make you do anything, no matter what it is. People may irritate you or do different things like that. Words do have power. Words have power 100%. But no, she didn't have to drag him. But the thing about it is, she didn't have to. But the thing about it is, words have power. And then at some point, when somebody has to stop. Someone has to stop it, or it's going to just keep going and going, and it's not going to stop. So someone can irritate me all over, just like Maurice was trying to tell Martell, this is the moment. You need to just dead it and do what you're going to say, because if not, we're going to go back into this cycle. And she kept digging at him. She kept digging at him because she already knew why he was mad. And she was like, her what's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem? Like over and over again, and then playing the music, playing the song. That was wrong. But it doesn't.
You get what you get.
No, it's not okay, because it doesn't diffuse the situation. It only serves to add more flames to the fire. And then you turn it up and you're like listening, you're singing along with it and all of that. It's not okay.
He started the fire. She added the gas, and it blew up in his face. And I agree, Martell is emotionally abusive, and he uses his behavior
what
to try
other
to
comments
control
are
her.
out here?
But,
Because I think you
none,
are
because we're moving on. We're moving
monitoring these
on.
comments to your support.
Next,
But
next,
all right.
next,
We have spent
next,
too much time on there, and we're
next.
going to talk about Real Housewives of Potomac. And so it opens up with Grace learning how to drive. And,
Bless your heart.
congratulations, Grace. 5 times that you got your permit. And so that's awesome. So great. No, and so, Giselle's trying to teach her how to drive. And do you remember how you learned how to drive and how did that go for you?
Yes, I do. Actually, my mom's youngest sister, my aunt, kind of helped give me like driving lessons because she had a stick shift. And so one of my first cars was a like Ford T-top, and it was a stick shift that I had in high school. And so she allowed me to practice on her Honda. So I do remember that in my old neighborhood going up and down the hills. Oh, child, stick shift. I'll tell you something. It's a lot of work to
That's
work
how I learned
stick.
how to drive. That's I'm sure it is. They said that.
Jeremy, what's the point you're trying to make?
That is a lot of work to drive a stick. It is a lot of it
It's
is.
a lot of back and forth, especially when you live in
It
Atlanta and
is.
it's Atlanta traffic. It's a
so
lot of
hard.
work. It's a whole workout to walk a stick.
It is. It's very hard. It's very hard.
It is.
So
very hard to work a stick.
I learned how to drive. But at the arcade, I would play those driving games. But instead of driving, no, listen.
Is that the lesson you got?
No.
Do you drive in the DMV?
I do drive. Listen. So instead of like racing the cars, I would just see if I could just stay in the lanes and just drive. And then once I got that and I was driving really good, then my mom helped me and then she taught me how to drive a stick. So I actually took my driver's test in a stick shift.
Yeah, if you could drive a stick, you can ride anything. I mean, drive anything. Absolutely. Now, here's the thing. I'm not laughing at Grace in a bad way. I'm laughing at Grace because obviously it's not a part of Giselle's ministry to give her daughter driving lessons. And, Jamal is in Atlanta doing all types of things and also praying for the kids. So with that being said,
and praying on the driving.
You said it, not me. So with that being said, where's my drink? With that being said, they need to hire the baby girl a driving tutor, and maybe not in the Gucci, little small little car thingy, the little PT Cruiser. So they need to hire the baby girl a driving teacher. Okay.
Yeah. So Giselle could just sit back and relax with her 3-wick Karen candle. Listen, and I know I caught a lot of flack, and I do now, thanks to Miss Karen Huger, know what wicks are. And she has 3. And 3 and Wendy's is great. It has 1 if it's a smaller area, like a powder room or something like that. Yes. A powder room. But Karen and this 3 weeks.
Yesterday, Jeremy.
I saw you was making candles. How many
took
wicks
Mom
was
and
in yours?
Grams. I only made a single wick candle because I knew exactly where it's going in my house.
You made where is it going? In the smaller area?
It's going into the guest bathroom of my apartment.
Okay, smaller area. That's when you go to Wendy. When you need something bigger, you go to Karen. Right. Listen. So I love it. And so Wendy is trying to give our presentation to Eddie, and she's just like, she doesn't know how much she's invested. She, she got a lot more work to do. She don't even know how much it costs to make a candle. That's the very first thing you need to know, sis.
She knows. She didn't want to say it on national television. One, she didn't want to tell us how much her candles cost at wholesale, because then that opens her up to people knowing how much she's charging in terms of her.
True. You're right. Because it's like $5.
Right. Hello.
And she's charging us $30 for this candle.
On Yay or whatever.
Oh yeah. Something.
She was not giving us the behind the scenes of her business on camera, so that's why she played the proverbial dumb blonde in that moment.
I see you, Wendy. I see you. I love it. The professor. I've been fooled by the professor.
Now let's talk about businesses, because Robin is now looking for a warehouse. Because I just got one thing to say, or 2 or 3. Robin says she gets 15,000 orders a month on average for these hats. Is it just me? But don't these hats still give you very 2009 like Destiny Child video, Survivor? Like what 15,000 orders are coming from across this United States of America? And
I
what small
mean,
town is buying this? This you were able to buy these hats from the flea market and the gas stations back in the day. I'm just saying.
it's more like memorabilia. Like you buy stuff to be like, oh, this is a Robin Dixon from Housewives hat, or this is a Wendy one wick candle, or this is a Melody Holt game. Like it's
But
memorabilia. So not necessarily you like it or you're gonna wear it out, but it's memorabilia. So I mean,
you're telling me if you buy a 2009 hat, Robin hat, and you're not gonna wear it out?
I mean, I may or may not, but I mean, at the end of the day, wherever I wear, I'm gonna rock, and it's gonna be great. But I could see myself buying some of these people's products, not because I think it's the greatest thing in the world, but because it's memorabilia, and it's kind of cool to have something that you've seen somebody make on TV.
I support small businesses in this case, and I support these businesses, right? The same way that if I was to go to Atlanta, I would go buy, OLG or, the Breakfast Boys and things like that. Like people who I know that are
Breakfast
entrepreneurs.
Boys, shout out.
I love it, right? Or, in this case, I would buy La Dame 3-wick candle because I like candles and I can get a functional usage out of this. I don't know what the heck. But anyway, at least Robin is taking her life coach's advice and she's trying to double down and get some business going in that moment for her.
I'm proud of that because she really was in a serious funk. And I think this was not one of these moments that's not like a for-show moment, but a show just happens to be following, because I think she was in a serious funk. And that therapist the life coach gave her some really positive things. She talked to Juan about how she's feeling. She started to check things off your list. And I do think anytime we feel productive, we just naturally feel better.
Absolutely, because you feel productive.
Exactly. So, I mean, I do think that was good. It was so funny because Ashley goes to her family, to Uncle Lump and them. And Uncle Lump wife is pretty. I was like, oh, she's so pretty. They are a nice, like, family. I like the whole, like, family. It was nice. Ashley and her shenanigans, talking about her stuff then fell out of.
So now we need to know. So last season for the first baby, her butthole was torn.
Right.
Now we got to hear that your lady parts are dangling. Like,
listen,
I get it. I would never have nobody's child. However, I also realize that childbirth is a very magical thing and it puts your body through a lot of different things. But does every single thing that happens to your body after you drop a kid, you got to tell us?
Right. Ashley just letting Ashley has always been out there.
And, she likes to let things hang out.
And she's telling her family about Michael's new business venture, about going into the movie business. And even the daughter was looking like, that's not.
So was her brother. Listen, I could tell Uncle Lump, the family don't mess with Michael. They do not like Michael. They do not feature Michael. And they only tolerate Michael because he's married to their family member. And that's a clear example of how you can be married for somebody and your family could tolerate them because you're married to them, not necessarily love them. And I think we see that.
And they are counting down the day to these divorce papers come through the mail.
As soon as you said that, look at the question that came through. I'm gonna let you answer that, Jeremy McShann.
So do we think Ashley and her husband gonna make it? Innocent, I'm always a proponent of, if you're in a marriage, I want you to go the distance as far as you can. But in this case, I'm not 100% sure. I do think Ashley had an exit plan, which included 2 kids so that she could be financially secure. So, best of luck to her.
Ashley doesn't have any businesses. So she really is just a housewife for real, like the title of the show. Facts. Good for her. All right.
So then, we are looking at Candace. This is the day of her drive back shoot. And so, one of these things, I think that Chris just needs to be her husband and not her manager. It's causing too much unnecessary conflict in their relationship that doesn't need to be there. Right. That's what we want to know. And I mean, well, technically he is, because all the money that come into the house is ours. If we're married, what you bring, what I bring is our money.
It's all going to the yes and no.
It's all going to the better.
Whoa, pause for the cause. I'm not married.
Let's pause for the cause.
I do know this. I know that there will be a joint where it is for the household, but there will also be a branding account.
Yeah, and I'm okay. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But what I'm saying is, if I'm married to you, whether my bank account is on $1 million or zero, as long as I'm married to you and you're not broke, I'm not broke. So like all monies are coming because we're still a team. You can't leave me hanging. So like at the end of the day,
it's all married money, your money. Is it like how does that work? That's a good question. Is all married money everybody's money?
Yeah, I mean, think about this. Okay, think if you are married to someone, right? And they don't have any money for whatever circumstances, they lose a job, they quit a job,
yes.
whatever. Exactly. So
I mean, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
He quit his job.
No, the pandemic. The pandemic ended up making all these businesses go out of business. He didn't have no choice. Like, it's not like he just randomly one day was like, you know what, I'm not working. I think circumstances caused him to have to pivot. And Innocent Spectator says, Candace gonna mess up her marriage trying to play with auto-tune. Listen.
You know what? Out of all the housewives that has songs, she actually has a little bit of a stronger vocal background than the other housewives.
For sure.
Nene's song was auto-tune, right?
Oh, but that song hits.
Don't be tardy for the party.
That's my all-time favorite.
But that is a clear example of auto-tune. I'm just saying.
Now, what hits harder? Candace's Drive Back or Melody's Telltale Signs? What y'all think out there? Which one y'all trying to do?
I'm gonna go for the upbeat one. Drive back. I'm gonna do that.
You let me want to come back. Drive back. Yeah, I'm here for that.
You don't have no cars though. So did Chris fumble the bag and fumble the ball? There was no cars. No cars showed up for this video shoot.
No, there were no cars. I think it was some lost in translation. Though at the end of the day, if you're the project manager, then regardless of who fumbles the ball, ultimately it falls on your shoulders. The way it was explained in her post interview on What Happens Live was that there was someone else in charge of the cars. And so he talked to them and they were supposed to have the cars, but the cars weren't there. But ultimately, if you're the leader, the manager, it falls on your behalf and you have to do whatever, have constant communication. Hey, where is that? And that's just another thing. Also, too, a manager's job is not to plan the aspects of the video either. That's somebody else's job. So he's doing somebody else's job as well. A manager is to be like,
well, she doesn't have a label. She doesn't have a label. So they're all wearing multiple hats at this point, right?
But it's not his sole responsibility, right? So I think she's putting all of that on him. Yeah,
I mean, he's taking the ownership of it and it doesn't come through, then somebody's in the wrong.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
it can't be the talent.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be the talent. If you are running the show yourself and you're self-funded by Candace Incorporated, then yeah, I mean, it's part of your fault as well too. So, but I think because he did take over that aspect and decided that he wanted to be over that aspect, and that was the mutual agreement, regardless of who fumbled the ball, ultimately it falls on him.
Okay. So here's the thing. Here's my question, because, we always do a little bit of a playback. You're really great with doing a playback on social media. So here's my question for everybody that's watching this playback, right? Who's the messier mom here? Mama Joyce, Miss Wanda, or Miss Dorothy in this moment? Because let me tell you, if I have to say Mama Joyce walked so Miss Dorothy could run this episode, because Mama was on out of 10 on an 11. She was on an 11 with the shade while she was on that video shoot.
So who would you put in order from least messiest to messiest out of those three?
Okay. So I think there's different levels of messiness, right?
Okay.
Because for me, so like Miss Dorothy is a refined messy. Mama Joyce is like Bougetto messy.
Okay.
And Miss Wanda is the round the way filet type of messy.
Okay. All right. So that's your I'm gonna put Mama Joyce surprisingly at the bottom of this list. And then Miss Dorothy is gonna have to be second because she keep a mess, but she's real quiet with hers, right?
She's
And
refined.
yes,
She's very polished, just like Candace. She's very educated, right?
yes.
She's not dumb. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's quite calculated, and you can see it. But keep going.
And Wanda J. Blige has got to be number
Around the
one
way
of
fillet.
all time. Messy mama. I mean, like the stuff that the mom was saying, and she even said, "I know we mic'd up, but yeah." And then
And she said,
stuff.
Jeremy, right? But yet she still said it.
She wanted it to be on
asked the
camera.
question.
She
I
wanted
know
it
we're
to
mic'd.
be. Because Karen like, girl. She's like, no, I know. And like saying all this stuff about your daughter's
Son-in-law.
husband
Her
and
son-in-law.
your son-in-law. And ultimately, you have to think about that as a parent. If I want the best for my child and my child is in this relationship, what I say is only going to further cause drama in that relationship. Because you don't have to go home to deal with that. Your daughter is going to have to answer for you. And people need to learn how to check. Like, I know we love our moms. I know as good Southern people I've taught, like, respect your elders, but also people, you have to have boundaries and people cannot cross that line. And
I
it's not
agree.
disrespect to be like,
I
listen,
agree.
I love you, but
Respectfully, I'm asking you to respect my relationship and or my partner, my spouse, my husband, my wife. Absolutely. Because what happened was Chris showed up in his uniform like somebody black mama that had to go up to the school to get the child because the child got in trouble in the schoolyard and now got suspended. Chris showed up like that. And the first thing out of Dorothy's mouth was, "Do you need a hug?" It sounded so fake and phony.
It did. And she was not here when they was hugging and kissing at the end. She was over
she doesn't like it. I wonder what her real issue is with Chris. Do you think it's the race?
No,
I don't want to call out race.
I think her issue is that she's an unhappy woman and her mission is to cause hell in everybody's life. And that's the issue. But moving right along to Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, we're gonna talk about Miss Mary Cosby. What do you think about Miss Mary Cosby?
Let me tell you something. I like Mary without her synthetic wigs on. You see, there are a few moments where you see Mary with her natural hair up in a bun. Mary looks so much younger with her natural hair out. And at least and I get it, like, she's first lady. She loves a good vintage fashion, but her wigs don't have to look vintage. Lady May had great wigs.
Lady May was giving it to you.
Mary's wigs make her look older than what she is. So I really like the fact that Mary had that. But if I was Mary's cousin, cousin Joe, I would be upset with her because she out the gate says, "I have my cousin who's a contractor. We're redecorating the house. He's the worst contractor you could ever hire." Excuse me?
Right. Now,
you're not about to use this Bravo platform to trash my business, sis.
Nah. If anything, you need to be uplifting me, even if I am. And because the way I get it, the way I feel what's going on is he's doing this for you for free around his other ventures. And so, like, yeah, it's gonna take a long time. If the paying people have to come first, and I'm getting you in the free time, obviously it's going to be like that. And she's trying to renovate this house, and she's like, everything is failed, like my marriage. I was like, ooh, wait a
Robert
minute.
Still is in Florida living his best life by himself for 6 months, honey, and she's at home with the kid. Now, word on the street is she's running a cult over there, and we can talk about that later. But if she's running a cult, you think she's not wanting to pay folks because they should do it because out of the goodness of their heart and that the Lord dwells within each and every one of us?
I am disengaging like Meredith from this conversation. Disengaging. But I do think like Robert Jr. is picking up on some of these signs with these relationship issues, and that may be why he's acting out. But why do you have a whole fridge in his room with his Gucci bedspread?
That man has a fridge, a couch, snacks on the dresser in a bowl. Not to mention he had another little miniature fridge on his dresser. This man says, "I am really not trying to leave this bedroom to have to deal with my crazy ass mama. So let me just go ahead and have my bottled water, my milk, and my yogurt here, and my chips."
And where is her housekeeper? I mean, her cousin. Where is she at?
She was a housekeeper. We haven't seen her yet. No. But can we just hop on over to Jen Shaw? Speaking of houses and homes, listen. I don't know if this closet was funded from stolen money or not, allegedly, but Jen Shaw closet is the bee's knees sugar.
Listen, let me go check my grandma bank account because looking at Jen Shaw's thing, I'm like, girl, what? Are you been picking up these numbers that's randomly calling you every day, talking about we need to verify your social security number? Y'all check in with y'all grandmas because Jen Shaw closet is too big, and
And
some
luxurious.
some of y'all
It is
grandmas money is up in that closet.
granddaddy too, child, aunts and uncles.
Okay.
Her closet
Yes.
is a clear one level of like Neiman Marcus. But Jeremy McShann, I just have to ask, would you take in cousin Dwayne?
That situation was weird because I'm like, where is your family if you taking them in? And they was from South Central, so don't drink your juice in the hood. And I
That
think they
wasn't
were
the
in a
question I was asking you, Jeremy McShann.
Oh,
Would
would
you
I
take
take
in
him
cousin
in?
Dwayne? Uh-huh.
Now, if we're thinking, okay, if we're thinking like family and they really needed help and I had the space, of course, 100%.
That's not what I mean, Jeremy. You know,
Other than that,
you have Jeremy. You have a history of liking the childrens, the sons,
oh
and the
no,
babies. Are
it's a
you
no for
taking in
me.
cousin Dwayne or not?
It's a no for me. The sons, they have to have jobs and be self-sufficient for me to take them in.
Who's to say that he's not? He doesn't have a job. He might
Beloved,
have a job.
if you need to move in with someone to get yourself together, you are
He
not for
needed
me.
this. He needed the
Sorry.
family. He needed help getting the family out of South
No.
Central while drinking the
Right.
juice in the hood.
Right. So that means you don't have it together. If you cannot take care of your family,
Oh,
then you
Jeremy.
can't take care of me. So
All right.
it is what it is.
Okay. So
So,
let's move on.
Whitney is talking to her husband, and she's just like they're trying to create balance with her building her thing. She says,
You did avoid that question very slick like. You sure did.
"What?
You was
I'm
as slippery as a water off a duck's back, sugar.
innocent spectator, girl, what? Y'all, I'm not coming here for y'all. I'm disengaging. Whitney is trying to talk to her husband, saying that their sex life is failing because normally they had sex every day and now they're only having it 2 to 3 times a week.
Well, isn't he 70?
I don't even care, but 2 to 3 times a week. I thought she was about to say they was not having it at all, or like once a month or something. How many times do you think a coupled person should have sex a week? Let me hear y'all opinion too. What y'all think out there? But what are you thinking?
No,
I,
you can toss that question out there.
oh, child, I know you're at grandma's house. Just say numbers. Just say numbers. Just say 1, 2, 3. Just say, grandma, fast forward a minute. Fast, grandma and mama. It's 42 minutes. Fast forward to
It
43:10.
depends.
43:10. Grandma, mama. Fast forward to 43:10.
It depends on life. Like I think when you have relationships like, and I appreciate what Whitney's trying to do. She's trying to use her platform to create additional streams of income in business. When you're trying to launch a business, Jeremy, it takes a lot, and that means other things in your life, and you have to shift and change. And sometimes, if you're in a marriage, then it will affect the marriage in some capacity. So I don't have a number.
Baby, this
I don't
2
have a
to
number
3 times a week is like Erica talking about she living in this bungalow is living in this little house because
you think 2 to 3 times a week is sufficient?
that's more than sufficient. What?
Okay.
Oh my God! Like this is correct. Because every day is too much. That man is well out.
First of all, the man is 70, isn't he?
I don't care if he was 35. That is too much every day. And then your frequency just goes to 2 to 3 times a week. Do you know how many married people would love 2 to 3 times a week?
You should ask Marceau and Tisha.
Ooh.
Moving on.
Jen and her tweets.
So here's the thing about Jen, and I feel like we need to land here and we can wrap up after this because I'm almost out. So here's the thing about Jen and her tweets, right? Because, I can agree with Meredith being upset with Jen because she's done a lot of things, tweeting, retweeting, liking. And so we see that Heather and, Jen have like their kumbaya moment at this like little ice thing outdoors. Real cute. I was a little confused.
It was cute.
How churros made its mix into like a fireside like igloo type of moment, but I digress. Cute. However, Jen is now showing a pattern of crying wolf, playing victim, and wanting to offer up an apology, but not want to own up to the behavior. Because those are two different things. You can say, I'm sorry, but it's a different thing between saying I'm sorry versus I'm sorry I did X, Y, and Z. I would never do it again, or I would try not to do it again. And Heather holding her to the fire saying, but these tweets have your blue check mark. You did this. And for her to say, well, that's not me, says what? Helen Keller can see that. Stevie Wonder, who else is blind and alive? They can see that this is still coming from your account. And what we know for sure, and I think we're going to hear this in the next episode, is we know that especially when you become, a certain person, you have a certain amount of followers, you hire people to help you manage your social media. But if that's the case, that person is acting on your behalf. So you still have to own those likes. So
100%.
Absolutely. So for her to say that's not me, but at the end, then apologize to Heather and say, I apologize for reposting or doing these screenshots. Which one is it? Is it that you didn't do it, or you apologize for reposting because you've now admitted fault and guilt for your behavior that you're trying to now deflect on as being the outside girl? I'm not here for it.
I'd be like, girl, give me your phone and go to the thing and go to the messages.
Right. I have screenshots.
No, I don't need the screenshots. Give me your phone. Let me go on your account. Let me go to this person's profile. Let me go to y'all DMs and see the history. Like, what?
Right.
This is crazy.
I agree.
And Jen is just like trying to make it pull. She's pulling the race card saying she's being treated differently because of her race. No, bitch, you are being sorry. You are being treated differently because of how you are treating people. You are out of order. Out of order. Put a sign on you as you are walking. Like, it's out of order.
She's a whole McDonald's ice cream machine, always out of order, right? Yes. This is the reason why Sharif wanted to divorce her ass, because he got tired.
Yes, for sure.
People always say when a woman's fed up, oh, that's R. Kelly. Let me not quote him. But people get tired of people's BS. And when it's a constant motion, at some point you want to get off the merry-go-round. So guess what, Jen Shaw? You can't be upset that people want to get off the merry-go-round because you put them through the motions.
Facts.
Jeremy McShann,
this was great. Listen, I need some more shrimp. I think I'm out. I'm empty, y'all. My cup is empty. I am
empty too. My cup is almost empty. But I think on that note, guys, this is a really great place to stop. Yeah. I think I can't wait to join in next Monday, live, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to talk about next week's episode, because things heat up for Lover Marriage Huntsville. Things heat up for Salt Lake City for sure. They go ice fishing, and things heat up for the Potomac as we get ready to wind down towards the season finale of the Potomac as well. But I think we're going to see a lot more drama happening. And on that note, guys, we got to go. You know what to do. Subscribe to the channel if you like this video if you like, and leave me a comment. Most importantly, check the notifications and make sure they're turned on, sugar. Who loves you? I do. See you next time. Bye, guys.